This is setting up to be quite an interesting way to start the day, because I am joined on set by Daktari. I really do not want to introduce him, because then I may water down just what it is that you stand for.
Yeah.
So kindly, please introduce yourself to us.
Okay, thank you, my host. My name is Dr. S.K. Kamau. SK stands for Stanley Karanja. I'm the founder and director of Family Matters Foundation. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just a professional doctor. I've done my first degree, postgraduate, and I have an honorary doctorate in divinity. So I'm more concerned in matters of life, leadership, and education. I'm also an author. I've authored 10 books.
Oh,
yeah, I've written 10 books of different topics. I've written about leadership, transformative leadership. I've written a book on transformative godly leadership, not just transformative leadership, but also godly leadership. I've also written a book on parenting girls, so to parent girls. I've written a book on parenting boys, because family is very key in my heart. I've written a book for teachers. I've written a book for principals. I've written a book for women leaders, and so many. Because my work is to disseminate information in terms of talks and even trainings and even through books. So I'm a consultant. People seek after me. They provide me forums to speak, to train, and to help people become the best they are meant to be. Actually, after this session, I'm going to a school, to a Form 4 class, on how to help them finish strong and achieve their goals.
Which is something that I think they really need. That is something that they need to hear a lot.
And maybe for something I've not said, I'm a family man.
Yes.
I'm a son of somebody. I'm a brother to somebody. I'm a father. I'm a husband. And above all, I'm a leader.
Very, very important qualities. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yes.
You've mentioned a foundation.
Yes.
Could you please tell us a bit more about that?
Basically, our foundation called Family Matters Foundation. We are 4 directors in that foundation. And that foundation basically is concerned about how do we establish the family in the divine order. Because what is lacking most in our society today is understanding the divine order and the place of the family. So our responsibility is to help people, especially men. Our major focus is on men, because we believe that men are the foundation, and they are the pillars of the community, of the family. So if the men are in the right place, everyone else, whether women, whether children, they find their place. But when men are misplaced, everyone else gets misplaced, because the men are the carriers of the seed. If you remove men in the equation, there will be no productivity. Men are the one who are the carriers of generations, the genes. So men are very, very important. And any society that does not deliberately, intentionally, and consistently come up with programs to empower men is actually risking its own future. There are so many programs about empowering girl child, women, but that's actually a deliberate intention to disempower the society and to make sure that the society disfranchised. So men are supposed to be the focus, and an empowered man is an empowered generation. Because men are generational in nature. If you empower man either socially, spiritually, economically, and any other career, you are actually empowering the whole generation. Any building that stands the test of time is actually is built by pillars and strong foundations. And men are the foundation of any society. They are the pillars of any society. So if you have to have security, if you have to have stability of any society or any family, empower the men. Because if you don't empower the men, they shall be the source of insecurity. We will be walking on a pig to get her, because it's men. So if you empower men and put them in their right place, I'm telling you, my brother, and our nation, this nation and the whole world will have a future. But if you don't take care of the boy child, of the men, we actually destroying our own future. So our focus more in family matters is the place of the men. Men knowing themselves and playing their role properly.
Well, talking about the role that men play, what role do fathers play in the development of a child?
Oh, what a wonderful question. The word father, in the first place, is a word that has not been well understood. The word father in its Hebrew and Greek origin means the source, is the beginning point. So men or fathers are supposed to be the source of the seed. It is the sperm of the man that determines even the gender of the child. Biologically, it has been tested. It is the source of the identity of the child. So the first person that gives the identity of a child is a man. So men should be so proud about themselves and see, we are the people who determine what's going to be born. What quality of the child is going to be born is determined by the quality of the seeds of men. The Greeks understood it very well because they believed strong men, and that's why they were very much in sports and building muscles and all those things. They believed if you build strong men, they have a capacity and the probability of producing children with strength, mental strength, emotional strength, physical strength, and they can be able to overcome because they have the source is so strong. So fathers are very, very important. They are not only source of the identity, they're also the source of who is this child going to become. Biblically, if for those who want to go into the Bible, you will discover that every child that was born, the father or even the mother were given the name. The name is not just an identity to give you a name like Maina or Kimani. It's actually, in its capsule, it means the calling and the purpose of this child. Like the name Jesus means what? The Savior. Are we there? So in that name, it's not just an identity for the sake of ID card, or it's actually capsule in it. What is this child coming to do? So it is the father who is supposed to help the child discover their skills, their abilities, their calling, and their mission on earth. Because you cannot just give birth to something or carrying seeds that you don't know their purpose. Because every seed is supposed to produce a purpose. So even our sperms that we actually inject into the women, you need to know, what is this seed of mine going to become? You don't just go scattering seeds anyhow. No. You have to be very deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. So men are supposed to give the child direction of life. Where is this child? Who is this child going to become? Where is this child going headed in life? What is their purpose? What is their role? And the child is supposed to grow not as a survivor or a sufferer, just trying to beat about the bush. Every child should get direction from their fathers. Indeed. So that we don't have this kind of people that are talking about hustlers. Hustling is just, you don't know why you have woken up. Everyone is supposed to have a clear direction and mission and vision of life. This one is only gotten from fathers. And for instance, Mwai Kibaki, when he became the president of this country in 2002, as the father of the nation, one thing that he gave us in the few months of his presidency is something called Vision 2030, which is actually a clear direction of where our nation was headed to. Because the work of a father is to provide direction. Because fathers are of different levels. There is the family fathers, there is the society fathers, and there is the community fathers, and then we have nation fathers. Even the owner of this building, this program, there is a studio TV station. He's the author. He is a source. He is the one who knows why was this TV station started. So he is the one who provides the vision and the mission and the purpose and the direction. And everyone working here, actually this family of this studio or this media station, they are supposed to be carrying out that mission. So and the founding fathers of this nation, like Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and Laila's father, they give us the mission of this nation. Where is this nation headed to? When Uhuru Kenyatta became the president, he also gave us the direction of this nation, because the fathers are supposed to provide mission, direction, and vision of every nation and every society.
And that is now clear. But then, what is the role of the mother in the family?
Oh, what a good question. The work of a woman in the man's life, or a mother in the house, is actually to women are called women because they have a womb. And what is the work of a womb? It is to receive the seed, and after you have received the seed, what do? You enlarge it. That's why they are supposed to be helpers. They're supposed to help you bring it to pass. So once you are given the direction, the work of the women is to come along and help you bring that thing to pass. So they are like incubators. They incubate every idea you give them. You give them a word, they shall give you a sentence. You give them some seed, they shall give you a harvest. Because their work is to enlarge and incubate and improve in quality. If you give her trouble, or if you don't give her attention, you're actually producing trouble for yourself. Because the work of a woman is to propagate, to nurture. Any good thing you give her, she will enlarge it. Any bad thing you give to her, she will enlarge it. So they are supposed to be incubators and propagators of that which you give them. So, and that's why you hear, when we are growing up, fathers would give instructions. Mothers would bring the clarity. What did this man really say? Because men will actually give you the framework, or what you call in academics course outline, but the women will come in and fill in the notes, the syllabus, and give all the more details, because women have a capacity of giving more details about something. So they give more clarity, they enlarge. So if everyone knows their real place and occupy their real place and play their role, everything will be very good.
Yes. Before we get into single parent families and how they affect the development of a child, which ultimately affects the society, which ultimately affects the nation.
Yes.
Do you think that feminism, as it is being directed and explored in today's society, is something that is positive?
Everything has its own place if it is maintained in the right standards. The reason why we have a lot of feminism is because men forgot their basic responsibility. The greatest responsibility of every man is to empower a woman. Any man who fears to empower the wife or the girls with him is not a real man. Real manhood is not oppressing. The reason why there is a rise of feminism is because men took a place of oppression and demeaning. And actually, sorry to say this, but it's good to know. Even when we are feeling what you call when you are declaring your wealth, part of the commodity you declare is how many women you have. So women are actually put like they are part of commodities, like a car, shamba. That is dehumanizing somebody, because women are not just a property like a cup. So they need to be given their dignity, and the people who should give them dignity is actually men. The problem is that men are insecure. The insecurity that men have is that which has caused their rising up of this feminism movement. And this feminism movement is actually not necessarily for good, it's for the destruction of the society. So there need to be a lot of balance so that we don't go to extremes. So men need to be secure, they need to know who they are and what they have, and they should find joy and value in empowering women. I want to tell people, when my wife has money, more money than me, the little money I have is more secure, because she will have dealt with most of the problems that are in the house. So if the wife earns more money than you, blessed are you, man. Because a real man is the one who actually empowers the wife. If you read Proverbs 31, which is a very good, scripture to read, not necessarily because it's a Christian book, but the Bible is very good. It talks about the noble wife. This woman wakes up very early. She runs her own business. She runs buying companies. She goes outside to go and look for merchandise. She is a very busy, rich woman. And her husband is respected in the city. Because he has empowered. For any man to receive respect, look at the kind of children that he is bringing up, the kind of wife he has. So the more empowered the woman will have, the more he gets respected. So the rise of a feminism is because of weakness in the man, in the male company. The men have forgotten their place and they are insecure. Yes.
Well, now shifting away from feminism into single parent families that have become very, very let me say there is a rise within the society of single parent families. What effect do these have on one, how the children turn out, considering that based on what you said earlier on, each parent has a role to play in the development of the child. So what happens to a child who is raised by only one parent, and how does this ultimately shape the nation?
I'm grateful for bringing that question about single parenting. We don't have single parenting. We have irresponsible parenting.
Well, I'm not sure if people will agree with that.
Because why me as a man would go and impregnate a lady and not be available to follow up the seed that I planted? That's being irresponsible. Because if I was responsible enough, I would even be very careful. Where do I plant my seeds? So having sex and having conception does not just become a joke. You have to be very serious. Even animals do not just jump on each other anyhow. No. So it is people who have become irresponsible and they don't want to take their responsibility and role. And because of that, you find when the child is born, is lacking in one area, because you need a father and you need a mother. If those are not available, maybe some of them have passed on. Men who are in the society are supposed to provide that fatherhood, because every man in their makeup, you have a makeup of a father. And every child should not feel in the society that they are in an environment where the parents are not there. Because parenting does not necessarily mean siring. Siring a child does not make you a parent. Parenting is a process. Watu tunasema kuzaa sio kazi, kazi ni kulea. Parenting is the other side. So I can parent a child even if I'm not the one who have sired. So what we need to rise is that we need to have a society that has a heart of parenting all the children. When you are growing up, we were part of a community. Every person of the age of my mother or my father was a parent to me. They would punish me. Actually, they found me doing wrong in the streets. I would be punished, and I would even beg them not to tell my parents, because if it is reported home, that would be another war. It's not even a battle. So because it was a responsibility of the whole community to nurture, to parent, to protect, to care, to provide for every child in the society. So what we need to bring up are those foundational values. That is not just my child, is a child of the community, is a child of the society. And when I see a child, my heart goes to her or him as a father. And the children should be brought up with that value, that aspect, that anyone who is older of the age of your father or mother is actually your parent. And those are foundational values of the society. So even that aspect of single parenting will not be hard, because I will become a child of the community. I will become the child of the nation, because we are not just an individual like that. Yes. And
what impact do these single parent families, because they do exist, we cannot dispute of their existence, but what impact do they have on the society and by and large the country?
Of course, what happens, my brother, is that when you don't have the full diet of every meal, you actually grow without the appropriate minerals and ingredients and even vitamins. So when you don't have both parents with you, Of course, one parent will find herself or himself being stressed because they have their roles. So you find a woman trying to play a role of a father, or a father trying to play the role of a mother. So because of that imbalance, so this child will not get full attention that they require. At some moment, this child needs to feel the warmth, the warmth of the mother, the nurturing nature of the mother. But if there's always with the man, you'll find the tough side, this, the challenging side, because the men are supposed to be a source of challenge, awakening the identity of the child, awakening the child to their mission. But sometimes you don't need to be always charged all the time. Sometimes just that coolness, that reasoning ear, that calmness. So if this child lacks in those things, their life will not grow with balance. And that's affecting the children. Because one of the things that real men bring in the life of a child is the issue of authority. If a child grows with the presence of a man, something, not just a man, a real man, because being a man is not just the issue of being male. A real man is knowing who you are and where you are. Because one of the aspects that a man instills in a child is the issue of authority. That aspect of authority, that there's somebody above. Because when men speak, they speak with authority. So when this child grows up, they are conscious of authority. There's something built in them, submit to an authority, respect an authority. And that's why in some of the cultures, when a child is born, at the maternity point, when the child is being delivered, the first voice they hear is the voice of the father. And that community is one of the communities in Kenya. The first person to receive the child is not even the maternity lady. It's the father. He has to be there so that the child hears the voice of the father. And that voice of the father instills within the child their instincts. There is authority, there is government, there is structure in this particular child. So this child grows up knowing there are orders to be obeyed, there are rules to be followed, and there are structures that I might fit in.
Indeed. My director tells me that we have to take a short break, Daktari. But this is a very interesting conversation, and I cannot wait for us to get back so we can continue with it. Just stay tuned. Welcome back to Morning Dew. My name is Kelvin Mungai. I am hosting Dr. SK, and he is an author, and he's very, very passionate about the family unit and how that unit fits into the society. Do remember that you can reach out to us and give us your feedback on any one of our social media platforms, or send us an SMS on 23595, or send us a WhatsApp message on the number on your screen. Now, Daktari,
yes.
Before we went on break, we were talking about single parent families.
Yes.
So is there a difference between a single parent family led by a mother and a single parent family led by a father in the way that the child eventually grows up?
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, basically, there's a big difference. And maybe I put a disclaimer here. It's very important to know that having two parents in your home does not necessarily mean that you're going to have effective parenting.
Oh, okay.
They can be there physically, but they may not be giving you effective parenting, because parenting is not just being the issue of appearing, but it's actually being there emotionally, mentally, materially, socially. Because you can just be there like a cup or a door, but you are not being felt. Because you have so many parents that are there physically, but they are not available to listen to their children, to feel the feelings of their children, to meet even the needs of their children. So having two parents is not a guarantee that this child is going to receive full dose of parenting. Having one parent does not necessarily mean that you're not going to get the full dose of parenting. Because those who have equipped themselves, and that's why I've written these books, so that every parent may know what is my role, and how do I shift this. If I'm a woman and I don't have a man figure as a father of this child who is available, how do I bring other men like my brothers or of our uncles, or people that we are acquaintance with, that are able to provide mentorship. Because as I said, parenting is not siring. Even we in the Catholic Church, we have fathers. They are called fathers, but they don't have children. But they provide that aspect of a father, a hearing ear. They give us direction. They pray spiritual development for us. Because the issue of parenting is developing the inner person, the whole person, so that this child has self-esteem, self-worth, self-value, self-pride, and this child accepts herself or himself. And those things are actually impacted by parents. So if a man or a woman is single with the children, should know what are the needs of this child and how do I meet them. And most of the needs are not just physical, are emotional, are mental, internal makeup of the particular person. So it's possible to provide the wholesome, the nurturing of this child, even if I'm a single parent. Yes. Okay. Because for instance, when I was growing up, I had a father who was not very well up. We were not very well up when we were growing up, although with time he was able to make more coins. But when my father, we were growing up, he would line us up. Our family, we were 8. And he would ask, whose children are you? Whose? Then he would say, you are yours. He would say, no, don't say you are mine. Mention who is your father by name. I am so and so of so and so. And then he would say, always be proud that your father fought for the independence of this country. Because my father was among the Mau Maus. So he would say you are Stanley, a son of Sir Charles, because they used to call each other Sir. Sir Charles, a Mau Mau veteran. That by itself gives me pride that my father fought for the independence. Then he would say, always remember that your father gave birth to children who are going to be rich and are going to be leaders. So you tell you to remind to say that I am so and so, a son of so and so, born to be rich and to be a leader. So he instilled those aspects within us of identity. So I grew knowing I am born to be rich. What does that mean? I need to work hard. I developed dignity of labor. We developed aspect of fighting on without giving up. We don't expect something for nothing. Those are the values that we agree with. He believed that when you go to school, you have to excel because you are a leader. So when the teacher is teaching, you are actually focusing, how do I be top 10? So that passion was developed by our parents. So parents are supposed to ignite those aspects within the child, whether you are single or not. And if others are not available, let us not abdicate our responsibility to what we are calling housekeepers or house maintainers or house administrators, or in other places, house girls. Some of those house girls have come from a family that is not working. And what didn't work in their own family, they can impart it to their own children. They never were nurtured well. So we also need to develop, for instance, a course for these house helps. Train them. If we can train hotel workers how to handle a cup of tea, how to clean a table, why don't we develop also house masters? How do they nurture a child? So it becomes a profession, not just an ad hoc activity. And people will be proud about it.
Yes.
Yes.
And now viewing the country as it is, as large, the country that we are in.
Yes.
Where are we in terms of the way we handle family matters, and how is this affecting us?
I want to take this opportunity to say that we in this country have not been very deliberate in focusing on the family institution as a government. And even as churches, we have days like Valentine's Day that was there. We have days like Christmas, but we don't have days set apart for family days. We have Mother's Days, we have Father's Days, but we don't have something called Family Day that people can feel that's time to be with the family. Actually, one of the best things that happens in this world was COVID-19 pandemic.
No, well, again, I am not sure people will agree with that.
In terms of family. Because people are pushed back to be at home. There are some children who are able to see their father from morning to evening, something that they have never, people even didn't know how to stay in, because we were locked in. It was actually family time. And I'm telling you, that is when real families were established, and that's when some families really fell. People can be in the same house, but they are strangers. They don't have times together. Technically, I know people have lost their lives, but there was a moment in the COVID-19 that it was me, my wife, and my children, the four of us, in our house. We would wake up in the morning. Until now, we had to develop a program, you know, and even duties. And we found a movement together, understanding each other, you know. So we have not been very, very deliberate. We also don't have systems and structures that are able to build the institution of the family. For instance, when people get married, they just go to the registrar of marriages and then they announce you 14 days. You know, there is no deliberate curriculum to even tell people what is this that you are getting into the marriage institution. Then from that marriage institution, there are probabilities of bringing up children. For you to become a producer here, I'm sure you went not less than 2 years to study a diploma in media or a certificate. Just to handle cameras, and you know, you went. How comes there is no institution to train you how to handle a woman and handle children? You are taught how to drive. You can't drive a car in Kenya before you are going to a driving school. Indeed. How comes you don't go to a marriage school and you're going to drive a whole family? How do you direct them? People need to be trained, and we should not take these things for granted. Somebody said, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." So our government, and when there was this constitutional change in the BBI, when it was going through, there was a cross that every year the president will be giving in his state address. He will be given, as in a state address to the nation, he will be given a place to talk about the family institution in this country. How are we doing as a family? So that's something that needs to be done, so that it becomes a responsibility of the government to be able to nurture its own people and to direct them in the right direction. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Now, my director tells me that we have 3 minutes left. And I will want to give you this 3 minutes to address whoever may be watching.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, our viewer, for spending time to be with us. I want to let you know that family is the foundation of every successful person. Every one of us came from a family. We have our basic family, we have the community, we have our own tribe. You know, it's our own family. It's good to be proud to be a member of our family. And even as a nation, we are a family. The president is our family, is our leader, is our president, is our father of our nation. And hearing his word and focusing on what he's doing and respecting him is actually a plus to us. It's very good to know that when we honor our parents, honoring your father and your mother, it goes well with you. So as children, as we are growing, anyone who is the age of your father and your mother deserves your respect. And with that respect, they shall give you blessings and your life will be well.
And in the interest of still talking about the family and parenting and bringing up children, you have 2 books with you.
Yes, please.
Would you mind telling us just very, very briefly, please, just what the books are for? Because they have some very, very interesting topics.
Okay. This one is on essential nuggets for parenting boys. The needs for boys and girls are different. And therefore, how you deal with a boy is completely different from how you deal with a girl. The needs of a girl when they are growing up and the needs of a boy are very different. So we have tried to come up with directions and nuggets that will help the parents to understand how to go about it. What does a boy expect from a father? What does a boy expect from a mother? And what a boy does expect from both of the parents. So that's what we are trying to do in both books. So we have put one for girls and another one for boys.
Yes.
Because there are parents who just have boys. So having a book on girls may not have much meaning. So others have girls like me. So I don't need but I need to really read so that I can be able to understand. But my basic need, how do I nurture the girl?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr.
And for the sake of the viewers, there are 3 key principles that every child requires. One, is building faith in themselves, to believe in themselves. Number 2 is to give the child hope. And finally, to give the child direction and vision. Those are basic requirements that every child needs to have. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I headed to? Who am I? Why am I here? And where am I headed to? That can only come from the parents. And the parents also need to know who they are, why are they here, and where they are headed to.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is Dr. S.K. Kamau, who has been my guest today on the lifestyle segment of the Morning Dew. Now,
would it be okay if I give them my contacts?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Viewer, you are free to call me. I'm a public servant, so you can call me at 0722 67 30 79. 0722 67 30 79. In case you don't get me, you get my director, assistant director, 0722 66 54 55. 0722 66 54 55. He is Samuel Jenga. When any one of us, if you call us, you shall get us.
Well, I do hope you get a lot of calls from a lot of parents. Because
yeah, and in case they did come to our office, our offices are in Ruiru, Bypass, a place called Meble. It's called Family Matters Center. On your left, as you go towards Kiambu, just Meble Family Matters Center. You'll find us there.
I believe the family is the basic unit of society, and the society, the way the society is molded, it has a great impact on the nation that we're living in. So I do hope that you get a lot of calls from parents and those who are maybe looking forward to being parents, or those who are struggling to, you know, raise their children. Now, that has brought us to the end of the Morning Dew. My name is Kelvin Mungai. I will be joined tomorrow by Wairimu Mogo. She will be coming back, but it has been an absolute honor to have been your host on this show. I'll see you tomorrow at the same place and the same time. Do have a good day.